In this class, we're going to create a mock-up of an embroidered patch for an emblem. This means you'll learn how to design a realistic preview of what the emblem will look like when stitched onto fabric. We'll take your design and turn it into a digital patch that shows all the details, textures, and colors, just like it would appear in real life. This mock-up will help you visualize the final product and make any adjustments before it's actually made. An embroidered patch is a piece of fabric that has a design stitched onto it using thread. These patches are often used to decorate clothing, accessories, or uniforms. The design can be anything from a logo, symbol, or name to more intricate artwork. The patch can be sewn onto the fabric or attached with an iron-on adhesive. Embroidered patches add a textured, durable, and visually striking element to items, making them popular for branding, personalization, and fashion. Let's begin by creating a new document in Photoshop. Ensure the settings are set to pixels. I recommend using dimensions that are larger than the biggest image you plan to use in this project. Set the color mode to RGB, since this project is for digital presentation, not printing. I'll use 8-bit color depth, as our design doesn't require vibrant colors, and it keeps the file size manageable. Once you've set everything, click Create. Save your file in a well-organized folder with a clear naming convention. This helps if you need to go back to previous versions if something goes wrong. I've already saved the file, so we're all set to get started. Start by opening the Asset folder and locate the emblem and texture images. Open both as new Photoshop documents. With the emblem image open, do the same for the texture image. We're going to start by creating a base patch for our emblem. To do this, we'll need a fabric texture. I'm providing a link to a texture image you can use, but feel free to choose any fabric texture that you prefer. The choice is yours to make it unique. Duplicate the original layer by pressing Ctrl-J. This way, you're not editing the original. Turn off the background layer. Next, press the M key to select the elliptical marquee tool. Because the texture's original color shades might make it hard to see the selection, create a new empty layer, select a warm color like red, and press Alt-Delete to fill the layer. Lower the opacity so the texture is visible underneath. Now, select the texture image. Using the marquee tool, hold Shift-Alt and drag from the center to form a circle. Use the arrow keys to refine the position. With the selection active, make a mask, creating a circular texture. Duplicate the layer by pressing Ctrl-J. While holding Ctrl, click the mask to activate the circular selection. Turn on the solid color layer to better see the selection. Go to Select in the menu and click Transform Selection. Hold Shift-Alt and drag the selection to form a circular ring. This ring will be the border of your patch, so adjust it to your needs. Delete the inside pixels. Make sure you're not on the mask. With the ring in place, press Ctrl-T to activate the transformation and rotate the ring 45 degrees for variation. To add dimension, apply a bevel and emboss effect from the effects panel. Adjust the depth and softness as needed. And set the gloss contour to half round. Tweak the opacity settings to match the lighting of your design. Add a drop shadow effect, angling the shadow to the lower right. Adjust the distance, size, and spread to create a smooth shadow. To enhance the look, apply a brightness contrast adjustment layer, lowering the brightness and increasing the contrast. Add a hue saturation adjustment layer. If your patch picks up an unwanted hue, lower the saturation to neutralize it. Once satisfied, save the file as a Photoshop document. We'll place this file in our main document later. Welcome to the next lecture. Today, we'll prepare the emblem for our mockup. With your document open, press Ctrl-J to duplicate the layer. Double-click the layer to open the Layer Style window. In the Blend If section, slide the black handle under this layer to the right to remove the black pixels. Since our image contains 100% black, this should be straightforward. Click OK when done. As you can see, the emblem's original color is in shades of gray, but for our project, we need it to be 100% white. With the layer visible, create a new layer and press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E to imprint the visible pixels onto a new layer. This new layer should have all black pixels removed. Now, activate the selection by holding Ctrl and clicking the layer. Then press Ctrl-Delete to fill the selection with white. This arrangement allows us to change the emblem's color easily. Simply activate the selection and fill it with the desired color. For now, we'll stick with white, so undo the fill action with Ctrl-Z. To remove the selection, press Ctrl-D. Save the file as a Photoshop document. Now open the main document. Go to File, select Place Embedded, and choose the base patch. Resize it while holding Shift-Alt to maintain proportions. Then press Enter to confirm. Repeat this process for the emblem file. Position it correctly using the arrow keys while holding Shift for larger increments. If you weren't using a large file size, you could use just the arrow keys without Shift. Remember to save your file regularly. Next, drag and drop the fabric texture file into the document while holding Shift to center it. Change the blending mode to linear light. Activate the selection by Control, clicking the emblem layer, then apply a mask to the fabric texture layer. This ensures that the texture only affects the visible pixels of the emblem. Our mockup is starting to take shape. It's helpful to highlight the layer color in case someone else will use this mockup. Go back to the emblem layer and add a bevel and emboss effect. If you haven't closed Photoshop, the Effects panel will remember your previous settings, so only minor tweaks are needed. There aren't any secret numbers. Just adjust it until it looks right. Add a drop shadow effect. Ensuring Use Global Light is on, and tweak the distance, spread, and size settings as needed. In this lecture, we're also going to add a background to our project. Find the camouflage image in your Assets folder and place it behind all the layers. Resize it while holding Shift-Alt. Create a new layer above this one and use the eyedropper tool to sample a dark green color. Press U and create a rectangle. Then rotate and position it diagonally at the upper left corner. Resize it using Ctrl-T, holding Alt to scale it symmetrically. Confirm the transformation by clicking the check button or pressing Enter. Duplicate this rectangle by dragging it while holding Alt. Then place the duplicate at the bottom right corner diagonally. Select both rectangle layers and press Ctrl-G to group them. This allows you to perform actions on both layers simultaneously. Name the group to keep the project organized. Next, copy the fabric texture layer, Ctrl-J, and place it just above the camouflage background layer. Actually, place it above the rectangle group so that it affects both rectangles at once. Scale the texture to fill the scene. It may look noisy, so lower the opacity. To avoid confusion, name the two texture layers Texture Background and Texture Emblem. Now, let's add some color correction to our project. Add a brightness contrast layer above the background and increase the contrast slightly. Also, add a brightness contrast layer above the patch and increase the contrast a bit more. To apply the effect only to the layer below, hold Alt and click between the patch layer and the brightness contrast layer. Save your file as a JPEG. Keep multiple versions in case you want to make further changes. It's a good idea to save it at the highest quality, as modern web and social media platforms use internal compression systems, but you should maintain the highest detail. If you want to add more texture to the emblem, copy the texture layer, Ctrl-J, and adjust the opacity as needed. A subtle texture difference may not seem significant, but it adds a lot to the final product. Save the JPEG file as another version so you can compare it with the previous version. Let's compare the two images. I think the version with the extra texture looks better.